but he ended up moving on. But I share this story because some would say this is like 20 years ago. And it's like, okay, 20 years later, you're still not married.
Yep.
You're still not a wife.
Yep.
Would you make that same like bet? Would you make the same decision?
And I'll say you would.
Absolutely, I would. I would have made it a day earlier because I had to choose me. Like, I am not going to suppress who I am just to be somebody's wife. Like you asked.
And I'm glad she did choose her. You know why? Because she's selfish. Because it would have been worse if she had actually accepted to marry that guy, to start a family with that guy, and then divorce his ass along the way because she's choosing herself. Because that's an excuse so many women who file for divorce use. I'm choosing myself. I'm not happy. I'm not happy, so I'm gonna divorce you and go on my own so I can be happy. Because marriage is not really just about happiness. Because remember, it's about other people. You have your husband, obviously, and if the kids come into the picture, it's beyond just about you. So I'm glad she made the choice because she could have messed up the guy's life by divorcing him.
Me outside, you said, am I somebody's wife? I said, I don't know, and I'm okay with that. Like, if I don't get married, it will not.
No, tell him how that conversation came up.
Because he writing letters to ghosts. Because Latiris be writing letters to ghost child. Now, I thought we stopped having imaginary friends when we was in kindergarten, but now Latiris, he said, I'm about to write the letter to my invisible wife. I said, your wife?
I did not say
okay,
invisible.
he said to his wife, I said, the invisible woman you ain't never. Personally, I don't think Latiris want to be nobody's husband, but I think we might get to that part in the podcast. And I said, you writing letters to everybody know this woman but you. Sat here, you've been around this world, around all these sensational women. He ain't trying to be nobody's husband, child. But
I told her
that's my own theory.
I said she is not imaginary. She's a real person.
Yeah, everybody know but you. How everybody know your wife but you?
Because if we meet each other and it aligns and we say I do, then she became my wife. So she wouldn't be imaginary no more, would she?
Okay, this is your interview, so I'm going to respect that.
No, talk.
Okay, but I have a question for you.
Have a conversation.
What are you looking for? Because most people don't have the opportunity that you have. You have the opportunity to associate with so many women, right? Which I really feel like is your disadvantage because we're having so many choices. It's like you're trying to make this perfect person. It's like, ooh, I like her. She speaks well. Ooh, but I like her because she fine. Ooh, I like her. Her hair real. Ooh, I like her. She go to church the most. So you got 5 different pieces of a woman and you're trying to make it that one. So it's like, to me, I think your challenge is, focusing on one woman only and rocking out life with her when you have so many options. And I feel like that's the disadvantage. That's
a disadvantage most women have too. Because one time a girl showed me her inbox and she had 500 messages from 500 different guys. Now I can guarantee you there were some guys who were short. Some guys were tall, some guys who had money, some guys who didn't have money, some guys who were in shape, some guys who were not in shape, some guys who were charismatic, some guys were not. Because in 500 people, if you are the boyfriend or if you're one of the guys she's talking to, chances are it's not going to work out because as soon as you do something she doesn't like, she's probably going to go in her inbox, choose a photo she likes, and then message that guy and then link up with that guy. So I can see where Kendra is coming from, saying this guy, the host of this podcast that meets so many women and is struggling. But at the end of the day, most men, they might meet the women, but doesn't mean they actually interact with those women or approach, which for women, they usually have the men approach them. So still, they actually have real options. The men as men, unless you're like a Drake, like a big celebrity where women can slide in your DMs, most of us guys, even if you might be social, you still have to approach those women. So still he kind of has an advantage, but not really, because he still has to approach those women.
That's your challenge.
So my challenge is this. My challenge is, well, thank you for your assessment. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Kendra G. I'm not a person that gets caught up on quantity. And so it's because I go to these events, host these events everywhere. I go to my hotel and by myself. I don't get caught up on quantity. Matter of fact, I look for quality. I literally look back and say, God, these letters that I've written is literally a blueprint to what I desire. So when I meet a woman, it don't have to it don't take a long time for me to assess and discern if that's my wife or not. I liken it to an episode I did one day, and I was interviewing this lady named Siobhan and her husband Cheyenne. And while she was talking, tears started streaming down my face. And this was about a couple of years ago because God revealed to me the sound of a wife. This is this other man's wife sitting right there, and they're talking, but I started crying. She said, why are you crying? I said, I can't compromise having a woman of God. And then she said, you don't have to. What's wrong? Because in my mind, in that season, I said, maybe what I desire, I'm looking for too much. And too much was it was basic. It was just literally, I want a woman that has the heart posture of God. A woman that when I'm in my moments of weariness, when I'm in these moments where I'm trying to figure out the next move, that she'll be able to put her hand on my shoulder and say, babe, you got this, and begin to pray for me.
And I think that's the minimum of what most guys are looking for. But because, just like Kendra did, she wanted to, she wasn't happy. She wanted to be herself, so she left a good man. And that's why men like him, they are scared of things like that. So I can guarantee when he listens to Kendra's G's story of where she had a good man, but she left him because she wanted to choose a career, he's scared of meeting a woman and then she gets to leave him because of whatever dumb reason. So for him wanting a woman of God, I think most men who want women of God, they are hoping that the woman understands what God says about marriage, number one, but number two, that their faith in God will build their loyalty in the marriage, where it's so easy these days to file for divorce. Because you know how they say people get married in church in front of God and the pastor and every other person, but when it comes to divorce, there is no God in the divorce court, in the family court or divorce court. So she may be a woman of God, but as soon as she doesn't like something, she's gonna file for divorce, and there's definitely God is not coming down to save you. She wants to leave, and I think that's why he's struggling. But for me, I would say go to church. But even then, it's not guaranteed that when she's not happy, she won't file for divorce. Anyway, man, shout out to this gentleman right here. His podcast is Dear Future Wifey. I'll link down below the full conversation with Kendra G. I just wanted to react to that Kendra G segment.